So we've looked at interviews, what they are, why we use them, when we use them, and where's the best place to record them. Is it best in a studio like this one, or is it best to go out on location? And in relation to going out on location, of course, we also need to think about portable recording machines. There are all types that are available, but Dick Davis is now going to show us how to use the MiniDisk.
Well, mini-discs like this are a great way of being able to record material out of the studio. If you look carefully, you can see that inside there's a disc, and it looks a little bit like a compact disc, and it is, but it records, and that's what makes it great for us for recording out of the studio. And for that, you'll need a machine a little bit like this one. This is a Sony mini-disc recorder. Very small. I'm afraid the buttons are very tiny, and the display is quite small, but it makes excellent quality recordings. The other equipment you're going to need to make a recording is a microphone to record with. And we always use a microphone separate from the machine that we're recording on. This is a microphone by the same people that made the mini-disc recorder, and it's made by Sony. And this will plug into the side of the mini-disc recorder. It's quite important that when you buy a mini-disc recorder that you check that there is a socket for a microphone, because some don't have one. It's normally red in colour, so here's the microphone plug going into the socket on the mini-disc machine. Then, of course, you're going to need to be able to listen to the recordings you make, and for that you'll need some headphones. And I'm going to put those on and plug those into the headphone socket on the mini-disc machine like that. Now I'm ready to record. I have all the equipment that I need to make a good recording out of the studio. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is put the disc in. And as I place the disc in and click the door shut, you should see on the display that eventually the display will say blank disc, because the disc I've put in has been erased. The next thing I'm going to do is push the end search button. It's marked along the top there, and that makes sure that we're at the end of the recorded section of the disc. The way to place it into record mode is to push down the little red button and push that slider across. And as you can see, the machine sets itself in recording mode. And if I speak into the microphone, you'll see the sound on the display. As my voice is speaking, the volume is going up and down in the display on the machine. Now I've just placed it in record, and you'll notice there's a number here saying 002. This is because this is the second track on this disc. A mini-disc can have many tracks, and each track is really the separate recording that you've made. And every time you push the stop button to stop the recording, you'll see that the display first says data save, and then it says TOC edit. Now that's the process of the mini-disc machine writing the recording onto the little disc. Once that's done, then you'll see the display will show end 002, and that means that it's at the end of track 2. It's recorded 2 tracks. If I put it in record again, like that, you'll see eventually that the display will say 003, which means it's now recording track 3. When it's finished recording track 3 and I push the stop button, the display will again show that the disc is being written with the information, with the data save and the TOC edit, and then it will say end 003, the end of track 3. So now we have all the equipment and we've got an idea on how to start and stop the recording on the machine, but we now need to go and make a recording. So here's 1 or 2 hints and tips on how to get the best out of that. First of all, remember that the microphone needs to be put in the right place. You need to be in the right place to gather the sounds you want to hear. The microphone has no brain of its own. Only you can decide what it will record by directing it at the sound you want it to hear. Go to somewhere that's not too noisy, because you don't want too much extra noise. Maybe you'll have to choose somewhere where there are a lot of people because you want to interview different people. Make that choice carefully. Also, be aware of the fact that where you're outside, the wind will make a sound on the microphone.
Secondly, it's important that they both know the subject matter to be discussed. Obviously, the interviewee will know his or her subject matter because that's what they're passionate about.
is quite objectionable, so maybe shield it with your body. Maybe go somewhere where there is less wind. Maybe you can use one of these on the microphone. It reduces some of the effect of wind noise. Now you're ready to start recording. Let's think about the microphone first. First of all, make sure it is switched on. There's a switch on the microphone, and this one's in the on position when it's up. Then hold it gently but firmly in the hand, not too firmly. I know you'll be nervous, but the person you're interviewing doesn't know you'll be nervous. So hold the microphone gently. Perhaps take a little loop of the cable through your little finger like that. This will prevent the cable banging against anything and introducing any extra noises in the recording. So with your microphone in your hand, comfortably but not too firmly, in a relaxed grip with a microphone cable like that, we can now start recording. So I put the machine into record, and now it's started recording, and I can make my recording. Now, the microphone, when it's recording speech, is often good at about one hand span away from the mouth of the person you're recording. So that's not a bad position for placing the microphone. Okay, so that's pretty well all you need to know about making good recordings out of the studio using equipment like this. It's quite straightforward, it's easy to do, and I think it makes radio great fun.